Good morning. Good morning. It's Monday. It's 4 o'clock a.m. I stayed in a little bit longer than I expected to. I was meditating. I was trying to get into a thought, a state of mind, starting out this new week. Last night, before I actually went to bed, I ended up doing a little bit visualization, how I wanted the week to turn out, reflecting on the past week. Yesterday, I went on it was supposed to have been a listing appointment. The property was worth $1 million. Now, ideally, in the real estate world, if you do $1 million deals, I mean, theoretically, you can get away with doing, well, theoretically, you can get away with doing 2 deals a year and you can make more than the average person makes. You can do 4 or 5 deals and, make somewhere upwards of $200,000. And I learned something about myself. And I told Ricky this. I sent out a request form, something that I needed the client to fill out before I got there. It allowed me to understand what they needed. It would allow me to be able to give them the best level of service and to compress our meeting down 10 to the 10-15 minutes that we had agreed to. And when the client didn't fill out the form, I decided that there wasn't going to be a presentation. Now, I know some people, probably even Ricky, was thinking, well, dude, you want to get that deal. What I'm learning is that not everything that glitters is gold, and not everything that looks good is good for you. And even in running my business, you want to work with people who are like you. You want to work with people who understand you are good with them, and you want to make sure that you are working in an environment that makes sense. Now, if you had asked me about the same scenario probably a year or two ago, I may have still tried to present, and found myself in a frustrated situation because I would have less than 20% understanding about what the client wanted or needed. So me sending out this form was important to not only me to help service them, but to them so that they could get the right person in there to get things done. And I went out to the property to preview it because I knew that the seller would be there. But I explained to them that I wouldn't be presenting. They failed to fill out the form, but I'd still like to get knowledge of the property, and I'll resend the form out and we can do it at another time. What I'm starting to realize about myself is that the more I read, the more I study, the more I become aware of what it is that I want to be. The consummate professional, there comes a certain level of respect. There comes a certain level of confidence. Like I said, I wouldn't have done that under any other circumstance, but I felt compelled that I needed my business to move in a certain direction. I needed the clients that I work with to understand that certain steps need to take place in order for that to happen. And all I'm simply saying is that the slow, progressive steps I've been making the last couple years, get this straight, whether you start your journey today or you start it down the road, you're still some years away from where you need to be. They actually say it's a 10,000 hour rule. So you do the math. How many hours do you work on whatever it is that you're trying to perfect your craft in? It's a 10,000 hour rules. I've estimated that my 10,000 hours is up at 2 years, which means I am close to or have exceeded that point. But I would not have done that under any other circumstance, but a certain level of confidence and a certain level of respect that I have for my craft and what it is that I do has been developed in me. The confidence is higher, the knowing is higher, and all I'm simply trying to say is that that's the realistic possibility for anybody who's looking to move past the point that they're at. If you're not happy where you're at, is just making those steady incremental strides every single day, making those purposeful strides. Waking up in the morning for me is not an issue. It is very simple now. Going to the gym is a pleasure now because I'm seeing results. I am seeing legitimate results. I'm seeing results of my sleep habits. I'm seeing results of my my eating habits. I'm seeing results of my workout habit. I'm seeing results of my self-discipline in areas of life that don't necessarily benefit me. There are going to be results. The problem is you're just not going to see them fast. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost in the sauce is they want to see what's going to happen right here, right now. And, I'd be a liar if I told you that there's such thing as fast results. Slow and steady wins the race. And so I think you got to kind of be that. The good thing is, though, is that if you're adamant about whatever it is that you're striving for, you'll start finding that it becomes easier and easier. You just got to be determined. You got to be, you got to want it. You got to really want it. Some of the things that I struggle in aren't necessarily business related. I would say they're more family related. I know I post a lot of stuff about my family and my relationship. I love them to death. I really do. I really do. They get on my damn nerves. But that's not their problem. That's my problem. I love him to death. Malachi, he's 15. He knows everything. That irritates the hell out of me. But that's every 15-year-old. Hell, I was probably like that. These aren't these people's problem. This is my problem. I love my wife to death. I love them. I wouldn't... These people would not be in my life if I did not love them. There is no such thing as mistakes. It's just perception, how I see things. So if there's one thing that I want to work on personally is my family life. I love them. There's nobody on the face of this earth that I'd rather hang out with, that I'd rather spend my time with. And that's a damn shame they get on my nerves. I'm just playing about that. I love them to death. So, like I said, small steps. I write them notes almost every other morning, and I leave them on the countertop. I wrote one this morning, just kind of expressing how I feel because that's the best way that I know how, and that's sad. I heard somebody once say that the way men grew up at a certain point in their life, certain things were not acceptable amongst men. Showing your feelings was not acceptable amongst men, and I think I fall into that category. The majority of my life, it was just me and my dad, and I mean, anybody that know him, he ain't walking around giving you no hugs. He might punch you in the arm, but so I really hope that my family helps me work with that. That way we can have there's a cat in my yard. We're thinking about a cat, but that way we can have a better life going forward, better than the one we've already had, because I think we've been blessed. I just think that sometimes my inability to show emotion or really express how I feel gets in the way. But outside of that, even that can be worked on, so I will do that. All right? But have a great start to your week. Peace.